Welcome to the Eagle Valley Model Railroad. In this video we're going to take a 9-inch bridge and make it a 14-inch bridge using a for sale sign. So what we have is a basic sketch of what we're going to do. We're going to create a box girder structure using the for sale sign, and we're going to attach it to the existing bridge. So right here, this is going to give us our base of the bridge where we can attach the new structure to it. And all we're doing is we've cut some squares out of the for sale sign and we're gluing it to the original structure. We're using a plastic weld to do this, and it seemed to hold pretty good. Making sure that our new additional pieces are as square as they can be to make sure everything lines up like we want it to. Now, some pre-manufactured plastics do not react very well with the plastic weld, so you have to be careful and make sure that you have a good adhesion with the plastic weld. It seemed like whatever this bridge is made out of reacts very well with the glue, and the structure holds pretty good. We're going to continue on to add some stability to the structure right now. And we're going to cut out some squares to add to what we've just put on the bridge. Now, this styrene cuts pretty easily using a box blade with a new razor blade in it. And you just make you a score and continue to run your knife down that score, and it cuts it relatively easy. Make sure you go through the corners again and it comes up real nice. I'll show it a little better in the video, but we're scraping off the paint so the glue will have something to adhere to. So again, this is just for added structure, stability, and it gives us a thicker surface area to glue our new addition to the bridge. It's nice working with this type of adhesive. It dries relatively quickly, but you do have a little bit of working time, not much, but just a little bit if you need to slide things over. So what we're going to do here is just clean up the edges and make sure that our gluing surfaces are pretty smooth for when we get ready to glue the rest of the structure to it. So to cut the strips of styrene out, all I'm doing is marking the board. We're going to use a straight edge, and we're actually going to C-clamp the straight edge to our table. I apologize for it not being in frame. I just didn't get it in there for some reason. But we've got a straight edge on our marks. We're putting a C-clamp on the table, and that's going to give us a nice line when we use our box cutter to score the line. And just like if you were cutting it freehand, just keep scoring it. You don't have to make one solid cut. It's going to take just a couple of times to do it, but just make you some good score lines, and your box blade will go right into the styrene with no problem, and it comes off pretty smooth. So here's our strips of styrene we're going to be using. And going back to getting the paint off of it, just using a razor blade and some elbow grease, and we're scraping off the paint until you have a nice clean surface. not only for gluing the pieces together, but when you get ready to paint it later on. So I decided to make the sides a little stiffer than just one piece of styrene. So we're going to glue two pieces together to make our side pieces. Just trying to make sure everything lines up like we want it. And just using a fine tip Sharpie, we're going to measure off our side pieces. We're actually going to cut a notch out of this, that way it fits the contour of the existing bridge, and it looks like they were built together from the start, that this wasn't just an add-on. We're adding 2.5 inches to each side of our existing bridge, and we're actually going to box those 2.5 inches in, as well as we're going to run a box structure the length of the whole bridge, and I think that'll make it look real good. And right here we're just marking the cutout using our straight edge and following the same process. We're going to score that line with our box cutter, and we'll have it cut out and it'll look just like this. And just to save a little time, I'm cutting this after we've glued the strips together. So instead of making 4 of these cuts, I'm making 2 of these cuts. Now, it takes a little bit more effort to cut through 2 of these strips of styrene like this, but the end result is just the same. Again, make you a couple scores with it, and it really does. It cuts right through this stuff relatively easy. Well, I said it cut through it easy. And there we go. And just going to clean up the edges a little bit. So now that we have our side structures cut out, we've cut some 1/4 inch strips, 14 inches long. And now we're just going to make the box in the edges of our side structure. And we're using our speed square and the flat edge of our speed square to do this, to make our 90-degree angle. Just making sure that the edges are pushed together pretty tightly. Adding our welding glue or welding cement, and it holds together pretty good. Working our way down the piece right here, ensuring that all the sections are glued like they should be. And I found if you blow on it just a little bit, it helps with the curing process, especially if it's something you know it's where it needs to be and you want it to glue to cure quick. You can help the curing process by just blowing on it a little bit. And we're going to continue to mark different strips of the styrene and get them cut. And we're going to continue to box in our side structures. You do have a little bit of working time with this cement. It's not just an automatic thing. If you need to move it around just a little bit, or like I've got right here, I've got some sections that the sides aren't against the edge like I wanted it. You do have a little bit of working time with it, but it's not very much. So you want to be pretty quick on getting the piece exactly where you want it. And here I'm just trying to make sure that we got as best of a 90-degree angle that we can get. Last thing we want is a bridge that looks warped. The video editor could have cut some of this out. We'd have looked at this twice. I have to talk to him about that. But that's basically what we're going to do here, and we're going to go all the way around. And that's how the original bridge is going to sit into our addition. This one was a little bit different of a piece. It goes into the long section of the box girder, as well as it caps off the 2.5 inch section of our girder. We actually cut a notch out the width of the two pieces of styrene together, and it rests in there. It turned out better than what I thought it was going to at this in this part of the process. And while one side's drying, we're going to cut the other side out and get it ready to glue. And there you go. It's boxed in on this one edge. We've got one more strip to go in the middle. And we've actually started putting our ribs in to give us the girder look. And all that is 1/8 inch strips of styrene. And every bit of this was cut out of that for sale sign. Go in and mark where you want them. Equal distance. And again, this was a tedious process. Use your tweezers to get them where you want them. If you cut them just ever so slightly too long, it'll actually sit in there pretty good. So on our side pieces, all we did was we took our side piece, set it up in place, and glued it in place using the existing bridge, also the supports that we used, and that's basically what we've come up with. We're going to box in the other side and get it glued on, and then we'll look and see what we need to do as far as the supports for the track. We also added some little detail work, but this also increased the amount of surface that we're able to use to glue the base to the sides. And I think that wound up being a neat little feature to the bridge. So all we've done here is we've cut our strips of styrene and we've started stacking them till it got to the track surface of our bridge, and we've put them in line with it. So all we need to do now is add some track across here and paint it up. And there's a comparison from the drawing to the actual bridge. And that's finished other than paint. And that's what she looks like on the layout. That's not the finished position, of course, but that just gives you a good look at what it looks like. Thanks for watching. Remember, like, share, subscribe, and until next time, happy modeling.